LPT request. What's your best advice for parents entering the teenage years? I have a 13-year-old son. I know there will be plenty of teenage debauchery in my future. What's your advice to handle some common hurdles? Sex, drugs, hygiene, consent, girlfriends, school life balance. Relax about the small things like hair. I don't care what their hair looks like or what length it is as long as it's clean. Take them on errands with you. They always end up talking in the car. You're giving them life skills. Listen when they want to talk back in a conversation, not a lecture. If they'll talk to you about Pokemon, they'll also talk to you about the big things too. I frequently remind myself that increasing independence and wanting to do things their way is part of growing up. I also have to remind myself that I'm trying not to raise my daughter to be a people pleaser, doormat like me. So when she's surly and doesn't want to do stuff, I respect her right to not have to smile and be a good girl 24/7. Apologize. You, as a parent, are human. You make mistakes. It happens. When you do and it affects your child, apologize to them. Teenagers are at a difficult juncture in their development where everything is changing. Everything is more difficult and complex. Hormones are going crazy, and they are going to make mistakes too. If you are holding them to a standard of behavior and to account for their mistakes, and you should, they need to see that it's a two-way street. You must be the example of holding yourself to the same behavior standards you expect from you. Children. The best advice I could give, and something I'm still working on myself, is not to try and solve every problem they encounter, not to always look to give advice. Yes, you have more life experience and want to impart wisdom when they fall in love, break up, stress about little things, friendship difficulties, etc. Sometimes kids just need to get things off their chests and aren't looking for advice. I find this hard to do myself, but it has improved my relationship with my teenage children. Let the glitter settle. Basically, if your kid acts like a dick or makes a mistake, it needs to be addressed, but it doesn't need to be addressed right now. A confused hormonal teen cannot and will not absorb logic when they are upset. Don't follow them when they storm out and slam the door. Timeouts become as valuable again as they were for toddlers. Come back to talk about the issue when everyone's nervous system is chilled out again. Mom of 16, 14, and 12-year-old boys. Lead by example. Set reasonable rules and tell them you expect them to follow them, then expect them to be broken. Guide them along. But they have to start taking their own path too. Be there to put them back on track when needed. They're gonna fuck up. Take it in stride. Try to make it a learning experience for them. It's great if your kids still like you, but you're there to parent, not be a friend. Don't be surprised when they don't want to hang out with you as much. The best gift you can give a child is your time. Dad of grown kids here. When each kid turned 12, they ran with dad and started doing their own laundry, including sheets and towels. Lesson 1: all you need is shoes to get healthy. Lesson 2: establish good habits. Friends will ideally provide the incentive to not stink. Ignore the little stuff and bring them into the decision-making process for the big stuff, including the consequences. My repeated line was work hard. I can't want you to succeed more than you do. Others have good comments, but I'll add, hug them as much as they will let you and tell them you love them even more. Have 2 college-aged girls. They will go through things that you will never hear about. Some of it may be really disastrous to their life. You showing your love always gives them a home base to put their heads. Buy more food. Whatever amount you're thinking, that's not enough. Teenagers, boys in particular, but all teenagers in general, are bottomless pits in how much food they can put away. Especially so if they play any physical sport. I have seen posts where a teenager puts away a full bag of 50 pizza rolls and then asks what's for dinner. That is not an exaggeration. I was a teenage boy years ago, and can confirm this is accurate. They are growing, using their energy, and are voraciously hungry. Be open, don't make your kids keep secrets. Strict parents make sneaky kids. Talk to the fucker calmly. Even though they pretend to not listen, the wee fucker will be taking notes. Share your struggles with your life, so that the wee fucker can see you overcome these struggles and how you respond to stress in your life. Tell them their actions are making you upset, not the wee fucker themselves. Make sure to always buy him the best gaming PC available as well as the newest games. This way you won't have to worry about girlfriend's sex drugs. The downside is that you have to worry a lot more about his grades and hygiene. Jokes aside, please knock and wait before you enter his room. Thank you. If you have 2 kids, let one sit in the front seat on odd days and the other sit in the front on even days. You'll never have an argument. What took me by surprise with both my boys was their level of anxiety and withdrawal. They were such gregarious, carefree kids. And it changed quickly around 7th grade. I don't feel like I handled that very well. And I wish I could have done it better. And by doing it better, I mean creating a healthier environment for two-way communication. I would have asked them routinely, is there anything you want to talk about? And then shut up and listen, with compassion and without judgment. Positive reinforcement. When you catch them doing something right, let them know. Don't be a helicopter parent, and when they get their own partner, be accepting, because you never know, they could end up marrying the person, and you want to be supportive. Don't stop hugging and kissing him, and telling him you love him. This is the age when a lot of people stop showing their boys physical affection. They need it, even if they complain. And men who are touch-starved inevitably have a weird relationship with sex, affection, and women. My friend's mom told her this, and I will never forget it. No matter where you are, no matter what time of day, no matter if you are drunk or high or otherwise, you can always call me to come and get you, and you will never be in trouble. We were always pretty safe. But we knew if we ever found trouble, we always had a safe person to call who would come get us. This post title is a friggin' gem. Don't make assumptions about anticipated behaviors, intentions, outcomes, whereabouts, etc. Be open-minded. Set expectations and give your kids opportunities to live up to them. And help or rescue them without judgment when they make mistakes. That is not the same thing as shielding them from the consequences of bad decisions. As a former teenager who was a pain to my parents, explain why you are doing something. Don't just tell your teenager, no, you can't do this. A lot of my teenage anger would have been less if my parents would have explained the reason behind things. An example of this was my curfew was early. I found out 2 years later that my parents wanted me home early because our gravel road was a bridge between 2 small towns. People would drink and drive on our gravel road to avoid the cops on the highway that went between the small towns. My parents never sat me down and explained things. If I asked questions, Dad would yell. Coming from someone who's a teen adult, and has a close family member who's a teen, for the love of God, don't shirk off sex ed. He's a human too. You can give him respect just like anyone else. And not be a pushover while doing so. It will get you far in many circumstances. Don't stress about things like his style if he's happy dressing the way he does. It's fine. Explain why you make the decisions you make. Because I said so is never a good answer. Be willing to say I'm sorry, or yeah, I screwed up. Thank you for taking the time to stop and ask for advice. Knock on the door, silently count to 5, then open the door.